Joining me now is Jake Johnston. He is a research associate at CEPR. He's got an amazing story about mercenaries who were caught in Haiti doing God knows what. Let's try to find out. Jake, welcome to the Young Turks.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So, what happened down in Haiti? Who got caught? Who were they? And then let's try to guess at what in the world they were doing down there.
Yeah, fair enough. So it all started February 17th down in Haiti. This is happening in the context there had been riots, street barricades, calling for the president's resignation for almost a week at that point. And then all of a sudden, this group of Americans got arrested, and the news sort of just filtered out very quickly all across social media and everything. Pictures of this large cache of weapons, semi-automatic rifles, drones, satellite phones, and these guys were in jail in Haiti, and nobody really had any idea what was happening. And so in the next couple of days, it really was just sort of rumor mill, everyone wondering what was happening, every possible story imaginable. And I was down at Haiti at the time on Wednesday, so about 3 days later, and myself and a bunch of reporters were down at the courthouse waiting for their first appearance in court when we found out they were actually on their way to the airport. And turned out that night, escorted by U.S. Embassy personnel, were flown on a commercial flight back to Miami and let go with no charges. So leaving a ton of questions about what exactly these guys were doing in Haiti and why the U.S. interfered to remove them from Haiti without ever facing a judge.
Yeah, well, here's what I can tell you from what we know from the story so far. The American government was very okay with what they were about to do before they got caught in Haiti, because the American government doesn't go around going, oh, there was 4 people with a ton of weapons that were going to apparently do something nefarious near a central bank. I'm desperate to get them out, unless they have some connection to the US, okay? And so, but it wasn't just 4 Americans, right? There was also 2 Serbian nationals and a Haitian driver, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and now one of them is talking to the press and saying, no, we're not mercenaries. We were going there to do general security. So is that even plausible? I mean, with all that weaponry, well, it's just 7 guys. And what were they doing near the central bank?
Right, I mean, I'm forgetting, putting aside the weaponry. I mean, if you just look at this guy's story, which was, we were there just to do regular security work, and then we were going to bring a businessman to the central bank to sign some $50 million contract. Any number of problems with that. Why would you need a security team to go sign a contract? Why would you be going to the central bank to sign a contract? This is not a commercial bank. It's not somewhere where you would actually do this. So even that story, no, it doesn't really make any sense at all. Now, the other sort of theory that's been put out there, this was in an Intercept article last week from a source claiming direct knowledge of the situation and alleged that they were going to the bank to transfer $80 million to the president's bank account. But even there, what do you need the guns for? What do you need these guys to actually go do this? My own reporting indicates that there were actually, some awareness within the bank and high-level bank officials that something was going on here. And so why would you need these heavily armed former military guys to go make a bank transaction?
Yeah, and they're ex-Navy SEALs. So here's what you don't need when signing a contract, ex-Navy SEALs.
I think that's right.
When you sign the contract, no one actually exchanges money. So that is the worst cover story I have ever heard. You can sign a contract anywhere. There's no bags of money to protect. So, all right, so what they're saying is clearly not true. What the reality is obviously an interesting question. Now, but Jake, let me continue. So they get back to the US. The US bails them out immediately, at least the 4 Americans. Do you know what happened to the Serbians?
No, they were brought back as well, and they were lawful permanent residents, as far as I understand, with a green card, and they were also brought back to the United States, same commercial flight as the American citizens.
Okay, so yeah, and by the way, I know ex-Serbian military guys also going on normal tourist trips to Haiti all the time, filled with weaponry. I'm sure everything was just hunky-dory. Anyway, so they get back here, but since they were arrested by the government of Haiti near the central bank with all that weapons, and they've apparently done a number of things that are in violation of Haitian law, I'm sure we're pursuing charges against them now, right?
Yeah, well, it appears not. So the reporting, at least, the government has not said anything, has not, given us any information about what the nature of the mission was, what happened to anything. But the reporting indicates at this point that, there will be no charges. And that's certainly what they are, or at least the one, member of this team who's been talking to the press has been saying, is that, they did nothing wrong, so they're free to go.
Okay, I'm picturing a Mission Impossible type of movie now, where the whole thing is you get all the baddest guys in the world and you put them together in this mega team so someone can sign a contract. It's not how the movie goes. All right, so let's try to figure out what's happening in the real world. So what happened to the prime minister recently in Haiti?
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, when you look at this case, right, it's not just about these Americans who were detained. I mean, obviously that set off something much bigger, but what it revealed was a lot of very interesting things. One, the US relationship with Haiti and how that's been changing over the last couple of months. Two, an open conflict between the prime minister and the president. And so that's, again, what you asked about with the prime minister. 2 days after they were detained, the prime minister gave an interview to CNN, and he referred to them as terrorists and mercenaries that were in the country to assassinate him. Now, not many people took, a ton of stock in that, but it was very clear that this was a political crisis and a political problem between the president and the prime minister, sort of exploding out into the public. And at a time with civil unrest and when people calling for the president's resignation, clearly that's not really a great look, right? So there was some interest there, right? I mean, just in terms of getting them out of the country, sort of covering up what it is, it was letting this sort of ease down a little bit, putting the lid back on top. Now, last week, the prime minister was called before the Senate to actually answer questions about this case. And that same day, before that could even take place, the lower house met and had a vote of no confidence. So basically ousting the prime minister, who is now officially out of the picture. Sort of clearing the way for the president. And so certainly that has been the sort of political ramifications. Now, again, these people, the president and prime minister, were obviously in a political battle and a fight for power before this ever exploded into the scene. But obviously it exposed something or threatened to expose something that certainly was problematic in that relationship.
Okay, so if you're not following Haitian politics closely, and I have to confess that I'm in that category, this does get a bit confusing. So is the prime minister the bad guy or the good guy? Right?
I'm not sure they're good guys or bad guys in this story, right? As much as many competing interests, all with various, interests at play here, but nobody has an interest in actually telling the Haitian people, or the American people for that matter, what actually happened.
So Jake, I get that, and of course the world is full of nuance, and so I'm not looking at it in a black and white or binary way. But do we think the mercenaries were there to help or hurt the prime minister's cause?
Yeah, well, certainly what they said is that they were working for businessmen close to the government, close to the president. And so, what it looks like, and certainly if these sort of stories are true, that there was something with the bank, some sort of contract or some movement of money or systems or information, it was clear the prime minister thought that he could use it to his political advantage.
Okay, so then what are the possible theories as to why the mercenaries were down there? So the prime minister says they were here to assassinate me. The mercenaries say we were having a fun picnic while somebody was going to sign something. Okay, so I don't know. Look, I discount what the mercenaries say. I don't discount what the prime minister says. It's not like the Americans haven't assassinated leaders in that region of the world before. We have. So I don't know. Okay, so what are the other options?
Yeah, well, certainly, I mean, there's been basically everything floated, right? I mean, you've had, again, this protest movement building for about 6 months now in Haiti. And in the context of that, there have been a number of extrajudicial killings, protesters being shot. There were pictures of foreigners in palace guard uniforms back in November. So certainly there's been a big concern and a big sort of talking point here that, maybe these were the people who were brought to Haiti to kill protesters, to repress protesters. Now, we don't have anything to indicate that that's the case, but certainly in the absence of any concrete story or any real official explanation of what they were doing, it's no surprise that, Haitians would jump to that conclusion.
So who lives in the royal palace in Haiti, the president or the prime minister?
No, this is the president. And what you have to understand in terms of this, right, is as part of this political crisis that's been engulfing Haiti for the last 6 months, the president lost his previous prime minister. And as part of a political compromise, named Jean-Henri Seyant, who was a member of the opposition, to become prime minister. So you had somebody from the opposition and somebody, the president, and obviously from different political backgrounds and really fighting for control of the government, right? But the prime minister obviously lost that fight.
Okay, and the Americans then appear to be on the president's side.
Yes, that's certainly what everything indicates, is that they were working with somebody close with the president. And if you look at who they were working with on the ground in Haiti, and this is, I think, one of the most important things that have sort of come out of this, is the main people they were working with, their liaisons in Haiti, were these two businessmen, Josue Lecomte and Gessner Champagne. Now, these guys are very close with the ruling party figures, the current president as well as the former president, Michel Martelly. If you look at Champagne, this guy met them at the airport. He was arrested in 1996 on arms trafficking charges, and it was actually the former president, Michel Martelly, who paid his bail at that moment. Yeah. So again, this is a crew, a clique of people who are extremely close with the ruling party, right? And so we know that. We know they were working close with them. But again, why are you working with these sort of, small-time businessmen who nobody really knows about? If this is an official contract or official government business, why is nobody simply saying that or telling the truth about what's happening?
Okay, I'm near a conclusion. I'm going to guess that the armed mercenaries were in some ways in cahoots with the arm dealer. So that's my guess, and the ruling party, and that's where the corruption leads to. But if you want to get more details, real details, rather than my guesses, check out Jake Johnston's reporting on this at cepr.net. Jake, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.